When you bring yourself forward and you go, this is my toolkit, this is my system. And now you've created, let's just be honest, world-class education in skating for coaches and for athletes, both in figure skating and in hockey and now in ringette as well. What did you bring forward into that business realm? Because in sport, business is a little bit more rare.
Well, you're right, because I don't know if a lot of coaches, maybe now because of the conversations you're having and that you're bringing forward, is that coaching is, for me, it's a calling. And it's a profession and a calling that I wanted to respect and do as much training and certification and education as I could. Yes, got it. But what happens is that we don't take it to the next level. Now, I have fortunate enough to be married to a man who's very successful and has a retail store called Professional Skate Service in Edmonton. And we used to have conversations about business. So I learned that how I was holding my coaching, selling my time of the hour. Oh, sorry. Back in the day, it was by the 15-minute block.
Oh, right.
Start there, selling my time in 15-minute chunks and thinking it was normal. And then I would get on the phone with him or we'd go on a date or whatever back before we were married. And he'd say, why are you doing that? And I'd say, well, that's the way it's always been done. And he goes, well, that's dumb. He goes, let's look at this as a business. And then I started to learn the word scale. Then I started to learn the word return on investment, return on time, return on energy. And then I started to say, well, who said I had to sell my time by the hour? Like, let's just stop that right now. So that's how I started thinking as a business. And then I started investing in the early 2000s, well, in 2000, real estate. And I realized that it's exactly the same. It's all the same. It's all made up. So if I wanted to be successful in real estate and I had to understand return on investment and scalability and, passive income, all those kinds of things, why couldn't I take those business skills into hockey? And at the time it was Steffany Hanlen's power skating, and everybody was hire Steffany Hanlen and I'm doing Steffany Hanlen. I'm like, no, you're not. You're doing a program that you're going to get the benefit out of. You're paying me good money. I work for you. And this is where I found figure skating really, there was still some resistance, there still is now, is that sometimes skaters think that they work for the coach. And the coach is the ultimate person that makes ultimate decisions from everything from what they do, what they wear, what they eat. It's not true. It's a partnership and it's a co-creation between the athlete and the coach. If the coach doesn't have the ability to maybe bring whatever the skater needs, then they have to have the resources to bring it. But the minute the skater thinks the coach is the boss, this is where it gets a little dangerous. And I know I've pissed a lot of coaches off over the years by saying this because some of them want to have that ultimate control, but we see the result and the downside of that. But to put the skater in the middle of their world is the same thing as putting your intention and your values in the middle of your business. You have a guiding light, you have a North Star there. And what I do is I put the athlete in the middle of their career and teach them how to put all the resources and the people and the places and the modalities of treatment and everything they need to learn around them. And the coach is a part of that. Now, if you don't see that as a business, then that's fine. If you just want to go and teach and then take your 2 weeks off in the spring and come back and coach in summers, that's beautiful because that's the way it's always done. I get it. Yeah. But from an entrepreneurial standpoint and the way that the world is now, we have to find ways to scale, find ways to still contribute and to make a difference in the community, but also make a living. And I know so many starving artists, so many coaches that just are living paycheck to paycheck, 15 minutes at a time, that I pulled back and I said, well, what if power skating? You didn't have to teach yourself by the hour and become a famous power skating coach and sell yourself and make a big poster with your face on it, kind of like realtors. You drive down the highway and you got these big posters because that's about them. Yeah. What I did was I flipped it and I said, okay, how do we make it about the athlete? Or in real estate, how do we make it about the investor? How do we turn it? And, it's funny, the what's important now, I did a whole series called Winvesting.
Oh, really? Oh,
real estate investors.
I love that.
Yeah. So that's how I did it. And same thing with Quantum Speed. I took my name off of it. I had to scale it. I had to teach and empower other great skating coaches with this system because I knew it was brilliant. Technique plus power equals speed. It's just a science. Trust the science. It's just the system. But if other coaches could coach it, then we're going to reach more athletes. And that's what I did with the performance coaching as well. In the retail realm, the pro skate has grown like crazy over the last couple of years. And a lot of it thanks to you and the work that you're doing in a leadership role. So what we're doing is we're empowering other people to bring what they know. And that to me is business. So if you've got a team of coaches that you're working with at your school and you call it team coaching, for example, it just means you're coaching them one day and you're coaching them the other, et cetera, et cetera. What I've been able to do, especially at Ice Academy Montreal, is learn and build and help build an environment where each coach gets to bring their specialty. So we've got 3 head coaches there that are brilliant in the technique. Then we've got me in the performance, emotional and mental performance capacity. Then we've got ballroom, we've got hip hop, we've got ballet, we've got theater coaches. That's team coaching, where you build a team with the best people around your athletes, not just a bunch of skating coaches that take turns earning their 15-minute dollars. And again, please don't hear this as a criticism for the coaches out there. This is what we know. Got it. And you know what? For some, it's never going to change. So all I'm doing is opening and offering a conversation of possibility. And if you're ready as a coach to see this as a business and understand what true team coaching is, I don't know, call Jadene.
Yeah, exactly. Call us, DM me on Instagram at Skating Success, and I'll get you in touch with one or both of us. Absolutely. Oh, I love that you read my mind. We know each other so well, because I was going to open up that Ice Academy Montreal conversation, because for those in the skating realm, in the figure skating sport, it has exploded. I think, you know, you've been integral in both businesses. So co-owner in Skating Success since its inception over 10 years ago. Can you believe it?
Amazing.
And then creator and co-founder of Ice Academy in Montreal. And truly, you're right. We're not trying to make anything wrong. It's just about what's possible as well. What is also possible here? What could this be like? And I would love you to speak to the idea of training everyone to win, because that's another internal lingo thing we've talked about a lot with Ice Academy as well as Skating Success. And I adore this concept. I think it's one of the most powerful things I've ever seen happen through the athletes you're working with. And I'd love it to be shared on the podcast today.
Okay, we're opening up a can of worms here, my friend. Back in the day with Marie-France and Patrice, I was their performance coach as they went through the 2006 Olympics in Torino up until retiring in 2007. And they were Canadian champion ice dancers, and they are the foundation of what we call DLH, or initially it was called EPMIS. Patinage Montreal Skating something. International Skating School or something. It was just a name or something where we could create a context for skaters. And the original, Patrice and Marie-France had the original idea that it would be for skaters from Canada, of all realms, that didn't have to leave their country to train and find coaching outside. And that's what happened to them, is that it get to a certain level in certain countries and you can't find the coaching that aligns with your values or helps you go to the next level. And so they were really committed to doing this project in Montreal for Canadians and have the support of Canadians and Skate Canada and coaching. And it just didn't land, because what we were doing was holding in the space and offering opportunity for people to really step into an environment where they could take full responsibility for their training. So as one thing led to another, we started seeing, and they started seeing, I'm distant. At this time, I'm in Edmonton. They're in Montreal, and they had a baby, they're trying to build a business. And it just started growing because of the truth of who they were being and the alignment for their values. So they started with a young team from Denmark, Kate Good and Nick Sorensen from Denmark. And then they brought in the Spanish champions, and then there were some single skaters. And there was no real true intentionality of becoming an international world-class ice dance school. That happened quite organically based on the values. And then they attracted Roman Hagenauer, who was their coach with me. And up until 2006, he left Lyon, France, and came to join them in Montreal, which expanded the ability for more teams to come in. And then we kind of woke up one day and went, we're on the way to the Olympic Games. So after Sochi in 2014, I think Patrice had 2 teams there, and we realized that this is going to get out of control. So we met together and said, okay, we need to create a container for this. It has to be bigger. So it became EPMIS. And then EPMIS started to attract champions from other countries. And it happened so graciously and organically. And it was drawn because like attracts like, and I don't ever want to step over this, is that you can't force this on people. You can't say, hey, you got to come and skate in Montreal. they see it, they resonate with it, they come, they get interviewed. If it's a fit for them and a fit for the school, then they stay. But what happened was we ended up with the national champions of over 11 or 12 countries, all training in the same environment. Patrice had to learn how to do a schedule, and we ended up hiring more coaches, and then more peripheral coaches like the off ice and the dance and the hip hop and etc. I was just this collateral person now I'd moved to Vancouver, so I was even further away from Montreal. But because I was traveling with the teams, and we started to understand that what was happening was really magical, is that when you put people together in a room that are as good or better than each other, it elevates everything. So when you teach somebody to win and you teach their competitor to win, what happens on the day of the competition happens. It's going to happen anyway. But if you're teaching, and for me, I teach the values of winning, and it's not a dirty word, by the way. Winning is, again, what's important now, and how do you put yourself in environments where you're going to be stretched and challenged and supported and pushed and loved and admired with the best competitors in the world. Can you imagine in Canada, in Montreal, Dubreuil, Lausanne, Hagenauer have created this context where the best in the world can come and train together and push each other and laugh with each other. And the other thing is become best friends. So now we're going to each other's weddings. Some of them are having babies. Now, I can't wait for all these things that are happening, because the whole point is to have them come through Ice Academy Montreal, learn the skills of being a champion, push themselves, challenge themselves, and understand the environment. If you're going to higher levels, you've got to compete with people that are as good as you or better. And for me, I'm not a technical coach. I don't pretend to know anything about, I know a little bit because I do have my goal dances.
Yes,
Yes, I do. And I know just enough to get, be dangerous. But I know my role, and each one of the coaches knows their role. Yeah. And because of that, none of us are pushing our egos on the athletes. And I think that really helps them trust us. So when I'm working with Spain, or I'm working with France, or now, a couple Canadian teams, 3 US teams, it's Australia, it's incredible, because they trust the fact that we're going to teach them all to the highest level. We don't have favorites. It's like a parent can't have a favorite kid. You may in the secret, but I can't, because I'm committed to them all winning. I don't know how to teach them to be second. I don't know how to coach them to be 10th. Yeah. I only know how to coach them to win. And because I use the context of what's important now, it's not even about their points. I don't care where they land up in the standings. That's their journey, not mine.
Beautiful. Wow. I can't help but see the parallel of the hockey world and bringing all the best onto a team into figure skating. And you've often said that figure skating is actually a team sport, which is like mind blowing for, us, people that grow up in a sport where we're told it's all separate. And one of the things that's shifted for me in working with you as a business partner, and also in working in the other businesses, is the idea of the leverage of team.